You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, IHOP holds a fundraiser event for National Pancake Day.
We got a March trend that is hard to beat as our sunny skies and warm temperatures will continue for the rest of this week. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch weather center.
And the baseball lockout has no end in sight as opening day is canceled. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Freeman Health System announces the winner of the latest Daisy Award for Extraordinary Nurses. It's Chris Lee. He's an RN in the cardiovascular operating room where he preps and helps patients through heart surgery. Freeman officials say Lee was nominated by his peers because of all the hard work he puts in with his patients.
Today we're talking about the Daisy Award. It's a global recognition program designed especially for nurses, and nurses can be recognized by family members, by friends, by co-workers, physicians. Really anybody can nominate a nurse for a Daisy Award.
The Daisy Award was created in 1999 in memory of a patient as a way to say thank you to nurses. Well, it may have been Peanut Butter Lovers Day yesterday, but that day can move aside because it was also National Pancake Day. To celebrate that day, IHOP restaurants celebrated with a fundraiser. Location in Joplin was raising money for the Children's Miracle Network Hospital at Freeman Health System. IHOP has been doing the fundraiser at some locations since 2006, but for only 7 years in this area. They've raised almost $25,000 in the 4-state area and nearly $29 million nationally.
So on National Pancake Day, IHOP offers a free short stack of pancakes at their locations in hopes that people will donate to the Children's Miracle Network during their time that day.
All funds raised during the event in Joplin stayed in the area. Missouri launches a new program to help those in the low-income bracket pay their water and wastewater bills. It's offered through the Department of Social Services, helping pay people for disconnection or reconnection fees and current or past due wastewater or water bills. Among the qualifications, person must be at or below 60% of the state median income, have $3,000 or less in bank accounts, retirement accounts, or investments, and be a United States citizen. You can visit Missouri's Department of Social Services website for more information. Well, Seed Company, based in Mansfield, Missouri, has raised more than $1 million in relief efforts for the people of Ukraine. Joe Hickman has the story of how planting a seed grew into such a fruitful harvest.
The Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company had humble beginnings in 1998 when Jerry Gettle started it as a hobby at his home in Mansfield, Missouri.
We started out in my bedroom here in the Missouri Ozarks, and each year it grows a little.
And boy, has it grown. This 150,000 square foot warehouse in Seymour opened just last year, and another warehouse the same size is being added.
This is for the purpose of packing seeds, shipping seeds.
As the small towns of Seymour and Mansfield are homes to a worldwide business.
We do have a global outreach. We're one of the largest heirloom seed companies, and we ship seeds to at least 70 countries in addition to every state in the United States.
Among the places they ship to is Ukraine.
One of the biggest farming regions, gardeners and seed collectors and hobby plant breeders and everything else. And the Ukraine is a huge area for home gardening.
And Gettle has a connection to Ukraine as well.
My great-grandfather, Jacob Hederly, immigrated over here over 100 years ago from the Ukraine. They were actually forced out due to Soviet Russian aggression at that time.
So with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Gettle wanted to help, posting that from noon last Friday to midnight Sunday, all the seed sales from his business would be contributed to the World Help Humanitarian Organization. And Baker Creek would end up raising $1.6 million.
It was about 44,000 different people put in orders, which was totally overwhelming to us. And we're actually overwhelmed here now in the background. We're going to be probably behind for a couple of weeks.
The good news, though, is while in the old days all the seeds were packed and shipped by hand, today they have machines that can pack up to 20,000 seeds per day. Space-age technology, if you will.
He's wearing that because he packs hot pepper seeds. And the hot pepper seeds can get into your lungs, cough, sneeze, a whole bit.
But here, it's not just about technology. It's planting seeds of human kindness and caring.
A month ago, we raised funding for refugees in Afghanistan that were having hardships. We've raised funding for different hurricanes here in the U.S. About every 1 to 2 months, we try to do a major fundraiser. But this has been the biggest one to date, this one for the Ukraine.
Two men from Idaho are bursting onto the scene with a new Guinness World Record. David Rush and Jonathan Hollywood Hannon are the latest duo to hold the world record for the fastest time to pop 10 balloons between their bodies. Yes, that's a thing. Two men surpassed the previous record time of 17.99 seconds by completing the task in only 15.25 seconds. Tag teams say they made this possible by changing up the technique. Previous record holders popped the balloons by hugging. Now, Rush and Hannon found it more efficient to pop the balloons between their hips. David Rush can now add this feat to his more than 200 Guinness World Records.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Yeah.
Dude's from Idaho, right?
Look at that. Yeah, they got it down.
But the dude's from Idaho and his nickname is Hollywood.
He likes fame.
Might have to get him as part of my new tag team wrestling I'm developing if you come up with a
Looks like they
nickname
tried
like
it
that.
twice. Once standing, once on their hands and knees.
Well, Hey, it sure was warm yesterday. What do you want me to say, folks? All the way up into the low 70s, plenty of sunshine, and the nice thing is overnight our temperatures kind of stabilized. We had a whole bunch of 40s out there, and now that we see the glow cloud, we begin our warm up not only back into the 70s, but how about mid, even high 70s later on this afternoon. Joplin's had a nice little rebound back up to 36. Southwest Missouri's been consistently warmer, up in the low to mid 40s throughout the course of our morning. Some cooler temps out to southeast Kansas, but Chanute's hanging on at 45. We've seen a nice rebound in Miami and Grove up to the freezing mark as well. It's going to be another blustery one, probably a little bit windier than what it was yesterday, as our afternoon gusts will be about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Not too bad right now, just about 5 to 10 is where we're rolling. That's a live look at the Skywatch storm tracker. There's not a cloud in sight. You've got to get all the way into the upper plains. In fact, on Thursday, the only cloud cover we'll see is up to the north right there, and it remains dry. Big dry air mass hanging over the top of us. Got to actually work all the way up to about South Dakota through portions of northern Iowa to find the nearest bout of precipitation. We're going to need some eventually with these elevated fire concerns. That'll come in the form Saturday into Sunday, but even then, Tanya, with a little scattered rain, 68 and 67 for our first full weekend of March.
Oh,
yes, please.
Great.
Yes, please.
We'll take it. We'll take it for sure. All right, up next, want to talk to your kids about what's going on in Ukraine? We'll have tips for you to do so. And later, Marlon and Claire return to Studio K to talk more about the International Festival that's happening this weekend. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Couple of special guests in the studio, and this is all part of the Pittsburgh State International Food and Culture Fair. We've got Marlon Marita. Marlon, thank you so much for joining us and cooking us up a little something. Well, making us up a little something. Claire Chen from Pittsburgh State as well. Claire, I want to thank you just for a little quick background. Marlon studied abroad in Guatemala. His parents are from Guatemala and currently at PSU. Claire, on an exchange program from Taiwan. And with the International Fair coming up, I want to emphasize the amount of food and drink that you bring from all over the world. And Claire, I'm going to let you pick up right here. What have you made for us this morning?
So this is called Boba Milk Tea, or you can people call that bubble milk tea too, but boba is more like
Boba Milk Tea.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It looks delicious.
All right. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So this is what we call. It's basically made of tapioca starch, so can make things like chewy, and we can just get this stuff like supermarket, some like Asian like Fox Farm, in Joplin. So it just basically I just have to boil it for 5 to 8 minutes, and it goes like this, like chewy ball, and put sugar, honey in it to have like kind of like sweet, yes. So like sugar. So that's basically how I do it. How I did it this morning. So it's not too fancy. It's not too hard.
And so this is not one of those things that we need to make and keep overnight, and so it sits. We can actually do this on the fly.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. Just like just like when you make coffee, just like put the water,
that
put the boba in like 5 minutes, like 8 minutes later, you got a magic. So it's like
okay. So I've got this with my honey and my sugar.
Yes.
And while that sits, what do I mix here?
So usually that's a famous milk tea is the best part, but it's kind of different here. So basically here we just do like Walmart milk, you know.
We went with the vitamin D.
Yes.
Claire was afraid of showing labels on television. I said, who knows? Maybe we, you know, maybe Highland lands us a sponsorship. We have no idea. So you prefer vitamin D milk?
Yes.
And
or like fat.
So after I fill these up, what's my ratio as far as?
Oh, just everything. Like some people, they like to be like sweet, so they will go like a lot of like sweet tea. But some people do unsweetened tea too, just like whichever you want. And then we can. So this is the basic main thing, like the magic. So we just put that in basically anything. Like it can be either like unsweetened tea. You can either like juice if you would like, and some people like even put that stuff on pizza. So
I try it.
So that's just basically whatever you want.
Okay, so and then our finished product.
So it should be very simple, just like 5 minutes for this. Sugar, honey.
Can I follow along with you?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And then just put that stuff, like the chewy stuff, the magic, into it.
And just drop it in there.
Yes. And then so unfortunately we weren't able to get the straw, like the special straw, like it's very like thick. So we can just like do it like normal.
But I'll look for it at the cultural fair.
Yes,
I
we
will.
will have that.
I
we
will
will
look
have
for
that. So please, and then just like whichever you want.
Well, you're putting more in.
Yes.
I feel like
usually I will go like half to this. It's like because I love boba.
Oh, well, let's go. Come on, I'm with you.
Yeah, and then you can drink and then have some boba. I don't know how you.
Do I let it sit or can I just?
Yeah, just drink, and then you have to. In order to get it boba, you might want to use like spoon for this too. So, yeah, but we'll have the straw in the fair, so it should be good. And then drink it.
So
Drink
how's
while
it
we.
tasting?
Just sweet, yeah.
I think he's gonna like it.
Yeah.
That is delicious.
Okay.
How have I gone 4 decades on Earth and never had this?
Yeah.
See, you liked it, guys.
Yeah. So we'll have a.
I apologize for eating and drinking on air, folks, but it's wonderful. And you're going to have this at the Bicknell Center on Saturday. Please tell me you're going to have this.
Yes,
we've
and a lot of
about it.
stuff too, like food. We'll have like brown sugar cake for Taiwan, and a lot of stuff like Korean. Marlon can address that more.
And it's interesting you say that, Claire, because while we're fortunate enough to have the both of you on representing Taiwan, and like I said, Marlon studied abroad in Guatemala. How many countries are participating this year, Marlon?
So in total, we have around 15 plus for in terms of
You had
food.
7 last year.
And this year even more. So
15?
So we have 15 of food, and we have 12 in terms of performances. So we have a lot more going on this year.
And Claire did such a marvelous job telling us about the food. Let's talk about those performances, because it truly is a chance to see the art and entertainment of other countries and other cultures around the world. How do you organize something of this stature? Because 12 countries with performances, that's amazing.
I think we've been working on it for the past 2 months now, and it's finally wrapping up. And we're excited to show the different talents that our students have on campus, and we're ready. We're ready on Saturday.
So Saturday at the Bicknell Performing Arts Center, and once again, folks, it's $1 to get in the door, and it's $1 for all these food samples. Claire, I wanted to ask you, what does it mean for someone who's become a part of the 4 states? What does it mean for you to be able to take the boba tea that I don't want to say that you take for granted, but is something that you grew up in, and be able to explain to other people what it is, how it's made? Is there a sense of pride in that?
Yeah, I would say that's basically, as what I mentioned like earlier, it's just basically why we're here, like not to just learn your culture, just to, it's always amazing to share our culture with all of you, and then to see like, oh, you like it, and we're like, oh yeah, that's the thing we're go for, like not only the culture, but also like, like what you say, like love people, sharing all the stuff. It's just amazing because you get to meet a lot of like friends, different, food from like India, like what I say. So please make sure you guys come here, like on Saturday, Bicknell Center, 5:30 to 8:30.
And I'm gonna let Marlon run through the details really fast. But folks, once again, this is not for PSU students. This is for everybody. This is the entire 4 states are invited out to the Food and Culture Fair. And hold on, Tim, really fast before we go to the full screen. I wanted to ask you one more thing, Claire. The reciprocation that you just showed right there, because you said you're learning about American culture, and you're doing so through the 4 states. Have you felt the reciprocation about people wanting to learn about Taiwanese culture? Do you feel like they're asking you and interested in what you're going through?
Yeah, so I think that's the best thing about the Pitt State, like not just for school, but the whole local community too. So they're just like, it seems like they're so fun. It's like, oh, where are you guys from? It's like even in the coffee shops, like I was doing like something, and it's like, oh, hi, where are you guys from? And it's like, oh, Taiwan. I'm like surprised, like a lot of people actually know like where Taiwan is. So that's very cool. And it's like, oh, you guys do the bubble tea last year. So, like you guys do brown sugar cake.
That's great.
Yeah, and then that's a bad thing to see, like, oh, people just come talk to you and they're curious about your country. And some people might ask like political question too, but it's always there's like so nice, and it's just been so great to be able to share our culture with everyone.
Well,
here.
number one, thank you for being able to share the Taiwanese culture, and number two, thank you for the kind things that you've said about the 4 states as well. Marlon, give us the particulars. I want to finish up with a complete rundown of what we've got coming up, because it's this Saturday.
Yes, so once again, March 5th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Bicknell Center. You don't want to miss it. There's going to be delicious food from every single continent on Earth, and we're excited to see you guys there.
And get there, and I'm going to stress it again, get there early, folks.
And remember, cash, $1, bring cash, $1.
$1, that's all it is. And I'm telling you, get there early, stick for the entertainment, but if you want some of the great food, don't mess around, because it is while supplies last. Claire, too. Marlon, I want to thank you so much for your time that you guys, and break a leg on Saturday. And I'm so happy to hear the number of countries has more than doubled this year. That is tremendous. Yeah. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. We take this time to honor this morning's 4-state hero, Bob McCoy, a fireman with the Navy, served on the USS Coral Sea. He earned several medals, including the National Defense Service Medal and the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. A native of Joplin, we thank you, today's 4-state hero, Fireman Bob McCoy. Major League Baseball's 2022 opening day now canceled. Union reps representing the players said no to the league's latest offer. Decision came yesterday. Danye Bacchus with the latest. She's at an empty Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles.
Major League Baseball has canceled opening day set for March 31st, and now the rest of the 2022 season hangs in the balance after the Players Union rejected the league's latest and best offer Tuesday afternoon.
My deepest hope is that we get an agreement quickly, we're back on the field, and we get back into that market and compete effectively.
Besides opening day, the league has canceled the first 2 series, a total of 91 games. With no contract in place, MLB locked out the players in early December. Commissioner Rob Manfred acknowledged the league wanted to move the process forward.
It's not something that we undertake lightly. We understand it's bad for our business.
Negotiations began, but common ground was elusive on a range of mostly monetary issues, including minimum salary and bonuses. Spring training did not start on time, and many fans were not pleased.
We need baseball. Both sides are making so much money.
Fans have little sympathy for players and team owners, while business owners are feeling a pinch.
If it doesn't happen, the stadiums, the teams, the areas around the stadiums, they're going to hurt.
Depending on how future negotiations go, players could sit out more than the first 2 series of regular season games for the first time since 1995. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
No new negotiations are scheduled at this time. I have a feeling that will be subject to change by the time we get to the afternoon. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, the cast of Batman sits down to talk about the upcoming film, and we meet some cheer champs who went from no competition to #1. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Back right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:35. Let's take a look at today's top stories. 3 arrests may have solved a string of burglaries and thefts in Labette County. On Sunday, Oswego police arrested Brett Phillips, 32 years old. His 22-year-old wife, Leah Phillips, and 74-year-old Roxana Camper. As part of an ongoing multi-agency investigation, all three are facing multiple charges. Brett Phillips faces charges in 4 separate cases in 2022, including theft of a trailer, non-residential burglary, and possession of methamphetamine. Authorities say Phillips ran when approached by law enforcement. Brett and Leah Phillips were arrested earlier in February on burglary charges and released on bond. Bond has been set for all three, although most of the stolen property has been recovered. Investigations continue into the crime spree. We'll bring you more on the story as it develops. Just before 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, Berry County 911 was alerted to a structure fire on the Cassville Square. Cassville Fire Protection and police answered the 911 call but requested aid from Exeter and Butterfield fire departments. A large building made up of mason and wood construction used to be a theater before it was turned into an office building and then abandoned. Second floor had apartments in it. No occupants were injured in the fire, and the Missouri State Fire Marshal was requested to help investigate the cause of the fire. Right now, the United Nations is warning the situation in Ukraine could become Europe's largest refugee crisis this century. Fearing for their lives, more than 670,000 people have fled war-torn Ukraine as Russia escalates its deadly invasion for a 6th day. Cole Higgins has the latest.
Deadly Russian military strikes taking out a massive TV tower and damaging the Babin Yar Holocaust Memorial site in the Ukrainian capital Kyiv on Tuesday. Another attack destroying an apartment complex near a hospital.
Russians do not understand what they are doing. I want them to be killed.
Ukraine's foreign minister says they desperately need help fighting Russia in the air.
The problem is that Russia dominates in the sky.
The White House is remaining in regular contact with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky through a secure satellite phone provided to him by the U.S. government. President Biden spoke with Zelensky for a little over 30 minutes ahead of his State of the Union address Tuesday, tweeting afterwards that he and Zelensky discussed America's continued support for Ukraine and adding that the United States will hold Russia accountable and that sanctions against Russia are already having a devastating impact.
We spoke many times with President Biden, and I am thankful to him for these opportunities and support. But they also did not hear me. I've been telling them that Ukraine will fight hardest of all. You will see. But us alone against Russia, we would not be able to do it.
Russian state media says a second round of talks will happen Wednesday. Ukrainian officials have yet to confirm. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
KCU in Joplin is one step closer to opening its dental school after receiving accreditation status from the Commission on Dental Accreditation. Many areas across the country face a dental shortage, including Southwest Missouri. Now the College of Dental Medicine can start accepting applications for the first dental school class and for faculty.
So we think we're in a perfect position to recruit students from Southeast Kansas, Northeast Oklahoma, Northwest Arkansas in this 4-state region. And in fact, we did a study that showed that this 4-state region really has a large need for dentists.
College of Dental Medicine is expected to start classes in July of 2023. Pittsburgh High School Performing Arts Department needs help raising enough funds to improve what you hear when attending performances. The department has raised $60,000 and is just $6,000 short for a project to upgrade audio in the auditorium. The project includes upgrading speakers, creating a recording space, and connectivity upgrades that'll allow for larger pit orchestras to perform in the instrumental music classroom during school musicals. The upgrades will improve the experience for audiences and the students who run the show.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on is we have students running tech, we have students building sets, we have students on stage, we have students in the pit. And so everything is student run.
If you'd like to contribute, you can find a link to do so on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. For the past 7 years, the Joplin IHOP has taken advantage of 4-staters' love of pancakes and National Pancake Day to help raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. In that time, the Joplin location has raised around $25,000 for the CMN hospital at Freeman Health System. That money comes from a lot of generous people eating a lot of pancakes.
Well, in the past, we've had anywhere from around 1,000 to maybe 1,300 or so people come out. And with 3 pancakes per person, we average 3,000 to 5,000 pancakes at just this location on Pancake Day.
All funds raised during the event stay local to where they're donated. Tuesday was opening day for Missouri's Catch and Keep trout season. The fishing started at 6:30 a.m. at some sites around the state, including at Neosho's Morse Park, downstream from the historic Neosho National Fish Hatchery. If you want to try your luck, you must have the appropriate fishing license and trout tag. You can find a list of trout fishing parks on our website at koamnewsnow.com. Cute kid. Missouri's Catch and Keep season runs through October 31st. Nice. Well, get ready for a great story because Wednesday is National Read Across America Day. That's today. It's celebrated on March 2nd in honor of Dr. Seuss's birthday. The iconic author wrote over 60 children's books, including beloved titles like Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The National Education Association started National Read Across America Day in 1998 as a way to get children excited about books. Libraries, bookstores, and community centers often host events for children to mark the day.
Used to come a day where professionals would make their way into classrooms and read to kids as well. And hopefully here in the coming years we can get back to that habit because it is something that I truly miss, especially when I think about Read Across America Day. Used to love going to the schools, hanging out with the kiddos and reading them books of their choice. Daily Almanac on this Wednesday, a record high of 80 degrees dates back to 1983. Our temperature is going to be warm, not quite that warm, but a great looking start over 7th and Rangeline. 46 degrees is where we stand right now. Whole bunch of low 40s on the board, still waiting down south for Miami and Grove to get there. But it gives you an indicator that we're warmer than where we were at this point in time yesterday, so we're going to end up here in the mid-70s. All the precip and cloud cover staying up through the upper plains. Low pressure system, Pacific Northwest, and isolated because even if any chutes do follow the jet stream, we find ourselves on the southern end of it, which means nothing but warmth all the way to the weekend. And even when a little rain presents itself on Saturday and Sunday, not much of a drop-off until a cold front moves in on Monday. We'll be back with more KOM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, yeah, we all get that feeling every now and then. Some people call it the case of the Mondays. Well, that young man, Landry King, he's just down the street in Andover, Kansas. Video of him went viral from his home security system that mom and dad have up because watch little Landry on Monday. He's like, I don't want to go to school today. he gave up before the class even started. A very patient bus driver took Landry's hand and made sure that he got to class safely and whatnot, and all worth a good laugh when you get a kid that age that at some point in time he's going to have a case of that when he's got that 8 to 5 job too. Our question for you this morning, do you ever get a case of the Mondays? 72% of you chiming in. No surprise right there and say, yeah, every now and then it does roll around and happen. All right, coming off of 2 years of a pandemic, there were certain competitions that no longer cease to exist. Well, now that we're back on, Chanel Stevens Anwar talked with girls at the national champion team of girls after their return to competition.
Now your 2022 national champions. Let's hear for Pleasant Valley High School.
A little over 2 weeks ago, Pleasant Valley High School won its first UCA National Championship in Orlando, Florida. Now that the girls are back home in Chico, it's finally starting to sink in. The cheer season is over now, and it will be one that the Vikings, especially the seniors, will never forget.
It's really, I think the best word to describe it is bittersweet. I really enjoy all of the memories and the growth that I have with my team and my teammates, and they make it all worth it, and it's such it's upsetting to end. However, I'm really excited to start a new chapter in my life.
I would not have wanted to spend my 4 years any other way. Like, so much blood, sweat, and tears put into the team, and I know I'm not the only one. Like, the rest of the team is very dedicated, and I'm really glad that all 4 years I have had a very good team every year.
It kind of made us closer, just being as a team, going across the country and winning a championship.
The team was honored last week at halftime of Pleasant Valley's basketball game to cap off a tremendous year. Because of the pandemic, the team hadn't been able to compete nationally for the past 2 years, but never let adversity stop their cheer spirit or the love for their teammates.
I think I'm going to miss the girls the most. It's not just a team to me, it's more of a family, so I'm going to miss them.
Horns up!
I'm Anwar Stetson, reporting the North States News.
We'll be back with consumer news right after this.
Federal Reserve Chairman plans to sit down with Congress today. Apple joins the growing list of companies cutting financial ties with Russia. And AMC looks at charging more money for tickets to see some movies. Here's a look at today's consumer news.
Tumble on Tuesday, the Dow dropped 597 points. The Nasdaq skidded 218, and the S&P 500 fell 67. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will speak to Congress today and tomorrow. The central bank has signaled that several interest rate hikes are on the way this year. Powell will likely be asked by lawmakers how Russia's invasion of Ukraine will affect U.S. economic growth. Apple has joined the long list of businesses cutting ties with Russia. The iPhone maker doesn't have any physical stores in Russia, but it has stopped selling its products through the online store there. Apple also removed Russian state-controlled media outlets from the App Store everywhere except there. And seeing the Batman in movie theaters may cost more than other films. AMC is testing a variable pricing plan with a new superhero movie. The company's CEO noted that this already happens with European movies and with sporting events where the best seats are usually more expensive. It's unclear how much more certain movies will cost.
We'll be right back.
Cape Crusader back in theaters this week. New superhero in the suit and a star-filled cast of characters who now find themselves immersed in the franchise. Ashley Dvorkin with more from The Batman.
I'm vengeance.
Robert Pattinson is the Batman. Zoe Kravitz is Selena Kyle, and Paul Dano revels as the Riddler takes form in Gotham's latest story.
The person who he was powerless, and then he sees out in the world this Batman, and then finds this mask for himself, and he is suddenly able to become powerful.
Jeffrey Wright plays a mystery-solving James Gordon in a vision brought to life by writer-director Matt Reeves.
Social dynamics, subtle political dynamics, all of this is where Gordon finds himself. I just loved that Matt had built this world that was so Gotham-esque, so Batman, but also something very familiar to us and something very relevant to us.
The stars are now immersed in the franchise with the fans.
Seeing some of the art that I've seen online that people make from the trailers, it's gorgeous, and we feel that way. I fell in love with these comics.
I went back, and read, from the beginning, from 1939, and, skipped up, made my way up to the present with the comics.
The cast even shared which stories they'd like to explore next.
If you got the chance, what would it be? Whether it's a character, another villain, or something from each of your storylines to bring in.
One of the graphic novels which I read in preparation for this bit, there's this one called Dark Victory, which has got lots of stuff about Selena and Bruce's relationship.
I'm just really excited to watch her flourish into something like a little bit more playful and mischievous, which is, which will be Catwoman.
Let's get into some trouble. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Realizing now that Zoe Kravitz becoming a regular on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be back with more news right after this. Rolling up into the 70s later on today, so even though you may take a jacket on your way out the door, certainly not going to need one for the afternoon, maybe even a short sleeve and shorts. Kind of early March 2nd. Wind will come in 20 to 25 miles per hour, gusts from 30 to 35 miles per hour. Find a reason to get outside this week because it's going to be absolutely delightful. Even the rain on Saturday and Sunday is accompanied by very nice temperatures.
Well, here it is, the world's largest puppet. It was built by the famed Jim Henson's Creature Shop in Glendale, California. Tuesday it was unveiled for the first time to hundreds of children in Los Angeles. The puppet is a 2-story porcupine named Percy. It has 2,000 quills and weighs more than a ton. Percy's next stop is the San Diego Zoo for the grand opening of its new children's zoo. The late Jim Henson is best known as the creator of the Muppets of Sesame Street.
Wonder how much it weighs?
More than a ton.
My goodness. All right, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.